Hello and welcome to a Star Citizen Drake Corsair Ship Buyer's Guide. The Drake Corsair is now flyable in Star Citizen Alpha 3.17.4. It is the much-loved exploration ship that is going to be used for a whole host of other operations. It's very multi-role. It's available from $225 to $250 based on how you buy it, if you want to buy it. We are going to take a look at that ship, its specs, its uses, and discuss where it fits into the game now and in the future. Take on the unknown. You hear the song of far-off galaxies, of systems uncharted, and frontiers untamed. The spirit of exploration is inescapable. This is the spirit of the Drake Corsair, the bold, indomitable will of humankind and its relentless pursuit of fortune, exploration, and knowledge. Who knows what you'll discover out there? But you can face the unknown with confidence thanks to the Drake Corsair's formidable shipboard weaponry and its unique convertible wings. It's a worthy companion, supporting you in battle, discovery, and delivery wherever the winds of adventure take you. Let's talk about the way it looks first. I think it's beautiful. It's very odd looking. It is asymmetrical with its wings. Once it's all sort of folded up in its landing mode, it looks normal. It looks like a normal ship, really. But once its wings fold out, you really notice how odd it looks, which is on the port side, you have two wings that are offset at weird angles from each other, and then on the starboard side you've just got one very long large wing. I think it's really striking though. I think it looks fantastic. I like the asymmetry. It's got a fantastic, unique, striking silhouette, and it's going to be a love or hate relationship with a lot of people, I think, but I do think it looks absolutely awesome. So, what's its expected sort of gameplay? The Corsair, to me, is a mid-tier exploration ship. And really what I mean by that is it's a no-frills exploration craft that forgoes all the bells and whistles of larger explorers like the Carrack and Odyssey, and instead focuses on mid to long-range exploration, but in a much more compact package for up to 4 crew. It's also significantly cheaper than a Carrack and an Odyssey, and it's going to be easier and cheaper to run because of that too. So gameplay wise, I'm going to be scanning down points of interest, scanning down anomalies, visiting them, finding pirate and outlaw bases, scanning them down and going there, visiting, scanning, surveying planets, sort of the surveying being a big part of that, I would assume, and exploring dangerous environments, operating relatively long ranges and being able to take on combat missions, dangerous areas, bounties, high value transport, and a bit of cargo hauling as well. If I want to go through sort of pirate sectors and very dangerous areas and unexplored territory, that Corsair is going to really help you out with its huge amount of firepower. You've even got room for a vehicle aboard as well, so if you want to bring a rover or a buggy or a couple of bikes, you can. But you can really do pretty much anything you want in game with this ship, other than sort of like specialist tasks like mining or salvage. But you could assist with those tasks, and you could certainly defend other players that are doing those things as well. So it's great. It's a great ship for any fleet. There is a load of cool stuff to do now with the ship, and there's the promise for a lot of future gameplay with exploration. And I would expect there to be lots of exploration missions and scanning missions, and even sort of touching on science missions with this ship. So what's the ship then missing? It doesn't have a medical bay, which for some is going to be a deal breaker. I know a lot of people like the Carrack with its tier 2 medical bay that allows you to respawn there at the moment. The Corsair has no such thing. It also lacks true self-sufficiency. It can't mine and refine its own contanium fuel like the Odyssey can. It's not as large as the Carrack or the Odyssey either, so it is more limited in range compared to them, but it's still going to have a pretty long range. It's still an exploration ship. The ship is fantastically simple as well, at least internally. It's all over a single deck. You're not going to get lost on this ship. It's got a reasonable cargo bay at the rear with a ramp, allowing for 72 SCU of cargo, which is quite a bit, but as I said, you can get a vehicle in there if you want, an Ursa Rover, so yeah, pretty big, that cargo bay. Then you have the main component and engineering room. Very easy component access here. On the starboard side of this room, you then have a sort of sealed room off to that leads to an airlock with suit and gear and weapon storage. Moving to the mid of the ship, you have a relatively large living area for the crew. And there's 3 crew quarters here too. A shared bathroom, food preparation area, and seating meeting area. So if you want to be chilling out in the ship, if you want to be chatting to your crewmates, if you want to be going to the sort of your rooms here, bam, this is sort of where you do it. There's also a sealed elevator as part of this room that will take you to the exterior of the ship. So either at the top or the bottom. Yes, you can pull one of the levers, not buttons, on this elevator, and that will take you to the top of your ship where you can walk around. Why would you want to do this? Well, you might want to go to the top of your ship for an awesome vantage point when you've landed on a planet, or maybe you want to repair your ship, maybe you want to use your ship like a fortress when on the ground, maybe people are attacking it, and you want to sort of stand on top and shoot off. Moving to the front of the ship, we then have sort of turret access on the port and starboard for the manned turrets. Then you have, or at least move into the cockpit, but there's a room on your left as you go into the cockpit. That's the captain's quarters. It's pretty much the same as the other 3 crew quarters. Pretty bare bones, allowing you to sleep there, have a bit of storage there, but it's just sort of quicker access to the cockpit. You just step out and you're immediately in the cockpit. The cockpit is a reasonable size with the pilot chair up front, and behind that is the co-pilot chair, which will actually take you down into like a sub-cockpit just for the co-pilot, and that's it. You won't get lost on the ship. However, even when marked out on the HUD, I still seem to get confused where the actual entry point for the external elevator access is, but that is very much a me problem and me being a bit of a dum-dum. The Corsair's firepower is incredibly impressive, and it's one of the main features and focuses of the ship. The pilot has access to 6 gimbaled weapons. As standard, that's 4 M6As, so big old laser pew-pews on the nose, and 2 M5As on the port wings, all of which are gimbaled. So this is a huge amount of pew-pew to bring to bear on a target, and I've seen loads of threads already calling for the Corsair to be nerfed. Now, I don't think it will. Obviously, lots of ships are going to get tweaked and sort of see lots and lots of balance as the game gets more and more sort of built up, especially once we have physical components and all that sort of jazz. However, it's not got like a unique weapon or anything like the Ares Ion did. It's just running a lot of guns, and it's supposed to. It's supposed to be a very, very high firepower ship. When fully crewed, you will have a remote turret at the back facing the rear, and 2 manned turrets on the port and starboard side near the front that cover the sides and some of the sort of front and rear arcs a bit. But they all have 2 size 2 Badger repeaters on each, so that's another 6 pew-pews basically there. This is going to make it great doing more dangerous missions, bounties, exploring and searching in pirate areas. It's going to be great at scouting and reconnaissance and operating independently. It feels like it has a relatively underwhelming amount of missiles compared to its sort of traditional standard firepower. It's got 8 size 3 missiles. It's basically got 4 size 4 missile racks. Now, these will pack an extra punch when needed, and if I can set it up with 16 size 2 missiles or 32 sized ones, then I'm actually going to be much happier with that, because that would suit the way I use missiles, especially when I've got a load of forward-facing firepower anyway. I might just want to fire a missile off to confuse a ship or to get it to move in a way that I want it to move or to break off. With the Corsair's turret coverage and its very powerful forward-facing guns, it shouldn't have too many issues when engaging just a couple of fighters or even larger ships. But I wouldn't want to get hit by any torpedoes or be in a prolonged fight with a lot of ships. It might suffer a bit when sort of you have lighter ships, fighters, or just smaller ships sort of sticking on its tail. I'm going to be really looking forward to playing in Xenothreat with this ship. I think it's absolutely perfect for doing a mixture of attack, defense, cargo hauling, and then fleet battling. Components-wise, the ship runs mostly a selection of size 2 components. It has a couple of power plants, a couple of quantum fuel tanks, 2 fuel tanks, 2 coolers, 2 batteries, and 2 fuel intakes. And for most of its other components, it's just a single size 2. So other than shields, which are a single size 3. So it's pretty tanky. It's got pretty big shields. And also for its computers, it's got a size 1 and a size 2 computer. What does that mean for sort of AI blades and the future mechanics of computers? We don't really know yet, but it's got some computery stuff. Ship comparisons. The Corsair is much, much smaller than the Carrack, and significantly cheaper too. So obviously the sort of Corsair ranging from $225 to $250 compared to the Carrack, which is at the moment $600. Really, the Corsair is more comparable and is competing against the Constellation Aquila, the Mercury Starrunner, and the 400i. These are all comparable in size and cost to the Corsair. So they all sort of do small crew, versatile gameplay, though obviously the Mercury Star Runner is less focused on exploration than the others, but it's sort of a little bit more focused on its sort of specialist role of being able to do a bit of data running as well. But for me, it's quite hard to call what ship I'd want. Obviously, if I had a choice, Mercury Star Runner. Mercury Star Runner is my favourite ship. Boom. Love it. However, if I wanted a more exploration ship, and I was choosing between the Constellation Aquila 400i and the Corsair, it is harder to call, but I do love the Corsair. I like the way it looks. I think that it's no frills nature, and huge amount of firepower is just a deal breaker. Some people are going to prefer the other systems, or like having a snubcraft that you'll get with the Constellation Aquila. If you decide to pick up a Corsair during the 2952 IAE, you will get 10 years insurance on it. There are Warbond and CCU deals as well. You can also grab one of the 3 additional skins. There's a black-red one, a green-yellow one, and a yellow-black one. I quite like the yellow-black, not gonna lie. The ship has gone up from $215 since it was last on sale, and now it's between $225 to $250 based on how you buy it, which isn't a massive jump. I think as far as Star Citizen ships go, it's kind of worth that money. It's well priced. That said, you'll be able to buy it in-game early 2023. At least I believe that's the plan. So there's no rush. It's going to be available in-game anyway. Simple, powerful, versatile. That is how I would characterize the Drake Corsair. And I think it's in my top 5 ships, at least at the moment. I mean, yeah, I love the Mercury Star Runner. And to be honest, Mercury Star Runner fulfills a lot of the roles that I would use the Corsair for. And for the exploration element, I have a Carrack already. So sort of bear that in mind. So for people that are wondering, I do think you can run this ship pretty well solo, because you've got access to that huge amount of forward-facing firepower. But you might struggle with fighters staying on your tail, and especially when they're other players, they'll sort of exploit that weakness pretty well. So sort of bear that in mind. Obviously, once we have AI blades, once we have NPC crew, you might be in a much better sort of place for that. But it works so well, the ship with 4 crew. Like, it wants to have 4 crew in it. It wants to have those 2 side turrets sort of manned. It wants to have a crewman in the co-pilot chair. Yeah, and obviously one of those people can run around and do ship repairs while you're fighting in the future. And I just think that because it's so small and compact, and the component access is so easy to get to, that you can keep the ship prepared and operational even when in sort of like quite a big battle. Boom! That's it for your Drake Corsair ship buyer's guide. I am interested to know what you think. Have you bought a Corsair already? Are you thinking about buying a Corsair? Are you preferring one of the other exploration ships? Are you going to buy a Drake Corsair and not use it for exploration? Use it for sort of just general multi-role stuff and sort of as a mission runner? What do you think about the firepower on the ship? Is it far too much? Should the ship be nerfed? Or should people just go, well, actually, the ship's supposed to have a load of forward-facing firepower. I need to actually work out how many Ares ions it takes to deal with a Drake Corsair easily. It's probably just 2. But I'm interested to know what you think. Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below.
Hello, I'm Winston Churchill, and I use NordVPN to defend the Internet Empire. We will fight the ants on the beaches. We shall fight on the Internet. We shall fight the trackers and the malware. Whether we want to watch Netflix for another country or have greater accessibility to the Internet, we will defend our island home. At any rate, that is what we're trying to do.
Thanks, Winston Churchill. What? What do you mean, Tin? That wasn't Winston Churchill? Point still stands. Go to nordvpn.com/BoredGamer to get yourself discounted NordVPN, or use the links below. Every month we have a ship giveaway. For November, we're giving away a Crusader Spirit C1. It's a fantastic looking multi-role ship that can fit a vehicle in the back or a load of cargo, and it looks really cool. It's got loads of forward-facing weaponry and a tractor beam. As it's a concept ship, though, the winner will have a Cutlass back in the meantime as a loaner. It comes with access to the game and lifetime insurance too, so bam! Even if you don't have Star Citizen stuff yet, you can get straight into the game with this. It's all you need. Just comment on any of my videos this month to be in for a chance of winning. A massive thank you to everyone that has used the join button under my videos to become a channel member, and my Patreons. You guys are awesome. It really does help the channel. Please consider becoming one of those lovely people too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the verse.